Welcome to Just 15 Minutes, a space where leaders share the real practices that keep them steady under pressure. My name is Eric Baumier, and today I'm joined by Cynthia Gumberg, CMO at Latera. Welcome, Cynthia.
Thank you, Eric. Very happy to be here.
Awesome. Well, before we start, I'm hoping that you'll join me for a brief drop-in.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
So if it feels right and feels comfortable, you can close down the eyes or lower the gaze and just take a moment to feel your body settling into whatever surface is below it. Taking this moment to just feel the support of that ground. And then we'll open up to the element of air today and just feel whatever sensation is available on exposed skin. If there's any gentle breeze that is moving through your space, or feeling any temperature of the air, a warm air or cool air, whatever it might be. Just opening up to sensation. And then we'll take a deep breath in together, in through the nose, and letting it out with a little sigh. And it's from here that we'll begin.
I hope everyone gets so much more grounded. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's the intention. And so I want to dive right on in. As a CMO, you've navigated moments of intense change and expectations, super high expectations. And so I'm just wondering if you can share one moment that you felt where the pressure was really high and how you led through it.
Absolutely. This one you might remember because it's going back to when we were working together a number of years ago during COVID. We all remember that time when we were just on the cusp of shutting everything down and nobody knew what was going to happen. We thought maybe we'll all go disperse and work from home for 2 weeks and just let it pass. And of course, don't need to rehash history of 2 weeks turning into almost 2 years, and nothing's ever been the same. In the first 3 days after we all left our spaces together and went to work from home, I was basically not on the hook, but responsible for sending a message to all of our customers everywhere in the world that we are continuing operations. In fact, there's been no disruption to our operations. We're still supporting our customers. We are here for them. And I helped our CEO write a very, very warm message out to everybody around the world that, we continue to be here even though we're not in our offices. Our servers are still working, our software is still working for them, and do not worry. So we sent this note. Somebody on my team took responsibility for that, and attached to the note, instead of going to our support center, it went to a marketing promotional landing page for a report that showed us, a leader in the industry, and it was linked to completely the wrong thing. So this email went out to thousands and thousands of people, and we started getting the messages back that, how can you promote your greatness during this time? What is this? Why are you sending them? And this was, back to our CEO. Marketer's worst nightmare. And I could have freaked out. I know some people on our teams were freaking out. The person who, actually hit send on the email was in tears. And what I said is, look, I'm going to take ownership. I will send a follow-up message from me as the chief marketing officer, just apologizing to all of our customers with the right link, just on top of the CEO's message. And I just wrote something very genuine, got it out there immediately, and it just diffused the whole situation. And I even made a bit of a joke out of it too, like, I'm really sorry, this was an error. I take responsibility. This was not meant to be the link. Here's the real link. Marketing's worst nightmare. I think I put something like that in the note.
Yeah.
And then, everything, it passed and it was all fine. a
Yeah.
week or two later, nobody remembered except for us on the marketing team. Because like that's a story for the history books that we're all going to remember.
Absolutely. I remember that moment and I remember that story. And I also distinctly remember that, and what it also sounds like what you just said is that you decided how you were going to face that moment. You
Mm-hmm.
consciously made a decision. I'm going to take ownership of this. And I can only imagine that in that moment, like the swirl that was happening and the pressure that was mounting to make a decision. So I'm curious about
Yeah.
like what anchored you in that moment? What helps you to stay grounded and
Mm-hmm.
go into a response, a very mature and responsible response rather than just reacting?
I think the best way, and I did not hear this quote until a couple of years later, but the best way to describe it, and I really live by this, is Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who wrote a number of books and stories afterwards, has a famous quote saying, between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And when I heard that, that resonated so much with me that I always pause and say, I'm not going to freak out. The power is in this. Things happen to you. People are bullies, stuff, crazy, bad things happen. You need to take a breath and just think, how am I going to respond? And as a leader, also people look to me. So if I'm sitting there berating the team and freaking out and who the heck did this and this is terrible and someone should get fired, like, I've seen people act like that. It doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anybody. Just pause and say, how I react makes a big difference, and I'm just going to pause and think about this and stay calm. And it's not the end of the world. It kind of, it might have been, we all didn't know, but
We didn't know.
this this email did not cause COVID. It's not causing to be ill. Nobody's going to die from this email. So it's
That's
just not that big a deal.
Yeah, and it's that
Mm-hmm.
pause that you mentioned. It's creating that space so that you can assess
Mm-hmm.
the situation, you can look at it from a bunch of different angles, and you can come back into presence. Because what can typically happen is the mind wants to project into the future of all the worst case scenarios that could happen.
Yes, yes. And space is power. Like that is really your only power, is giving yourself space.
And I'm curious, like from that moment and other moments, how have you seen that presence that you take, that space that you take,
Mhm.
how it impacts your own steadiness? How does that ripple out to others on your team or within your leadership team? Or like how have you seen that impacting others?
I have a lot of people who just tell me, you're always the calming force in the room or the voice of reason. How do you stay so calm during all this? And I think that's just my personality. And I tell folks like, look, no, nobody is dying. And, even if they are, there's still a way you can respond, and there's a way that's not as helpful to others. I think I'm a very sensitive person to how others are feeling, and also empathetic to, if somebody is freaking out about something, there's a reason behind it, and there's some pressure on them that's causing them to react that way. So I want to understand that and
Mm.
be able to respond to what's causing the situation, not to the person's emotions, and try to just take some of the stress emotions out of the air and say, let's just think about this rationally and make a decision together.
Yeah. Honoring and witnessing what is while also not getting swept up in that specific, right? And trying to figure out like what is happening underneath this, whether it's the CEO coming in a flurry or an employee that's feeling the stress of something. It's not necessarily, it's honoring and respecting. There's an emotion happening here. I can be empathetic to that.
Yes.
Now let's figure out what's going on underneath it and taking that pause, taking that
Mhm.
break to say, okay, I won't get swept up into it. I can witness it, but I'm not going to get
Yep.
swept up into it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it's really
You
admirable.
said
It's
it so
really,
well.
yeah, thank you. And it's what I've noticed in you, right? Like we've worked together and I've noticed that in you, and
Mhm.
I've seen you execute this type of presence multiple times. And So, as we wrap things up here in respect of just 15 minutes, my last question for you is, what would you say to somebody listening, watching this, who feels that they have no time or no space or too many demands? Like, what
Yeah.
would you tell them about taking space and taking time?
I think just get up and take a walk for a few minutes. Get up, get a hot cup of tea. That's what I do. It's nothing magical. Sometimes they need to step away and just breathe and not look at everything coming in and just come back to, all right, what is the most important thing I can be doing from now on? The other thing, if I see somebody who is struggling and being in a leadership position, it's usually, I'm managing a team and people have situations and, look like they're stressed, look like they're struggling. Instead of just saying, you've got to get this done by this date, I always say, how can I help? And we do have that culture here at LaTerra. We have a stand-up culture every day. The leadership team gets together and in a stand-up, and it's, what is your just one thing you got to accomplish today, and what's blocking you? What are your blockers? And I really do like that culture and that mentality, because the blockers are, it just brings to light, how can everybody help? And we all just, it's asking it in a different way. And I come up with that approach with everyone I talk to who is stressed. And sometimes it's just, you know, you can't, I need to just get through the day, or it's, can you talk to this person and give me, an extra day to get this done? That would really help. Or there's usually something that they can say that I can help with, or at least it diffuses some of the stress that not everyone has the opportunity to, have that conversation with whoever's giving them the stress in the first place.
Yeah.
So I would
Yeah.
just say, talk to a mentor, talk to somebody else who can at least be ears if you're feeling overwhelmed. Because there's always somebody who's willing to help out there.
Absolutely. Seek support, ask for support, take space,
Mm-hmm.
take time. A
Yep.
5 minute walk to go get tea will pay dividends. The 5 minutes that you thought you were going to spend on that project, if you are not at your capacity, or if you're not full
Mm-hmm.
and you're feeling something, feeling burnt out or stressed, that 5 minutes that you take to walk away to go be with yourself, to tend to yourself, will pay you back in dividends in the
At
future.
100%.
And I
Yes.
love that you're modeling that you give people that
Mm-hmm.
radical permission, because
Right.
so many
And give
people,
people, yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And
Give
and that's
the
the
opportunity
intention.
to say, I've got a blocker and I need help. Like, asking for help is not natural either. So,
No, no. So thank you, thank you, thank you for modeling this in real time and showing people that it is okay. It is okay to take pause. It is okay to take a break. It is okay to
mhm.
ask for help, because by demonstrating this, I hope that we can make it a little bit more accessible to more people. So, to everyone listening, I think this was a great example of when a leader regulates their nervous system, the room changes. Presence can become your culture. So, thank you for your time. We are at our 15 minutes, and so
Thank
I'm
you,
just
Greg.
hoping that you'll join me for a closing as we wrap things up.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. So, with a simple gesture of reverence, whatever your gesture is, it is with deep appreciation and gratitude that for all the teachers and mentors and guides that have
Mhm.
led us, who have shaped us to become who we are today, and for those that this will go on to influence. So may we all give ourselves a little bit of permission to just take 5, 10, 15 minutes the next time the world is feeling a little too much, to rest, to reset, to regulate. And just remember, everyone, that presence ripples outward. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I